And I appreciate the panel's focus on these important issues today. I just am trying to get a bit of the sense of the job that you have, Secretary Counsel. As I know it's a big job, a big undertaking. When you talk about interoperability, it's a great word, but of course it means a lot. How many different technology systems exist within the VA?
Over 1,000.
1,000. And how many of those are currently talking to each other?
Oh, very few, if any. I would have to come back and look at that. But integration really doesn't happen at a system level. Integration happens at the data level, and that's one of the reasons that we're putting in an enterprise data management function, because we did not have one.
So are you trying to integrate the over 1,000 systems as well, IT systems?
You don't try to integrate the systems, you work with the data. The data is key.
In terms of the interoperability with the DoD and the providers, what are the biggest challenges there?
The biggest challenge is that within healthcare, there is no common language of interchange. Right now, if you're on a particular EHR, you can talk maybe to the data out of the EHR, and I say maybe. It requires the mapping that was done between the DoD as well as ourselves, and that's what we've done to be able to say we're interoperable with the DoD.
And do you try to sequence that first at the VA, then at the DoD, and then within the provider community, or are you trying to do that simultaneously, all the three different areas?
Actually, we work with the ONC as the oversight body to decide on what those standards are, and then work with all the partners to create that standard and then get that agreement.
Let me ask on the budget. I think that the number I saw was $4.3 billion with regard to the IT budget. My understanding is the IG is currently investigating the potential misuse of funds of up to $60 million. Who makes the final decisions on expenditures like this, and how are you combating waste?
Well, it's a combination. As far as combating waste, one of the things that we're doing is putting in a full implementation of FATERA, which creates a source selection process being with the CIO. So we're putting a strategic sourcing function within OINT so that we can clearly have an understanding of all the contracts that are going on, all the spend, and also the performance.
And do you believe you have a good understanding of that right now?
Not what I would like to have, no.
So who does make that decision? Those kind of decisions, and is it made in like levels? So $5 million goes to, this decision level is made by an assistant secretary. 60 million, maybe the undersecretary. Who's responsible? Because as you know, on accountability issues, sometimes with big organizations, everybody's responsible and nobody's responsible. Sometimes I think it's actually very important to be able to have an individual responsible.
I totally agree with you, and that's actually what FATERA says. It says that the CIO should be accountable as the source selection authority.
So is that you?
What we've done in OINT is we delegated our source selection authority to a group called the TAC, which is the Acquisition Center, to do that purchasing and all those things, and they have first right of refusal on those items. What we're doing right now is working with the leader of that organization to refine that and bring that back into our processes so we can be fully accountable for every dollar spent.
So on the 60 million that's the IG is looking at right now, who is responsible for a number in that kind of magnitude?
Senator, that particular IG report was talking about VHA.
Yep.
So that would be within VHA or me. That, as you may or may not know, because there was recent press coverage on this, was actually not a finalized IG report. It has not been released, but it got essentially leaked out into the press, and so that's how we learned about this. VHA deliberately took steps to spend the money that it did with legal counsel's opinion on this. So we will not, after we see the report first, we will review it carefully, but likely not concur that that was a correct conclusion, that the money was misappropriated.
So, but Dr. Shulkin, so it's you when it's VHA?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Secretary Counsel, when is it you? Again, I'm trying to look for names. I just think it creates more accountability.
Yeah.
Sure.
The IG report is a VHA report, I think, to Dr. Shulkin's point. But for IT appropriation and IT spend, and when it's development dollars and infrastructure dollars, it should be the CIO.
You,
It's me.
good. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Sullivan.